Coming at you live, covering all things professional wrestling. A show by members of the Busted Open Nation. Welcome to the Nation's Corner. Here are your hosts, the Nation's Corner crew.
Yo, what's up, pro wrestling fans? Welcome to the Nation's Corner. I am Front Row. It's been a minute. I'm joined by John in South Jersey and Mongrovian Mike. What's up, people?
It's great to paraphrase CM Punk. It's a great day to be alive on a Saturday night and be a wrestling fan.
Yeah, it's a lot of work these days. There's a shit ton of stuff to follow. There's a lot of good stuff going on. I want to dive into a bunch of stuff, but I want to get a few things. I want to touch on a few things first. Shout out to our good friend Ezra, who is at C2E2 in Chicago this weekend. Too Sweet Cosplay and their whole crew is out there representing. I think they're right in the middle of the building. That building is like a 3 million square foot, like massive establishment. So I saw some pictures of some pretty cool stuff going on there.
Like this one.
Yeah, I was gonna set that up, but okay.
That's Mongrovian Mike's favorite person.
I love her.
Yep.
I hear she's the problem. Although
the problem.
So we hear. Elder, I know you wanted to touch on something first before we get started.
Oh yeah. One of our earlier interviews when we were another name or whatever, just it was still the show we were on. We had Ross the Boss came on. I had DM'd him, and he said sure. And I've met him and seen him live many times. He just passed away. Yesterday. MLS. He was diagnosed with it, and he went rather quickly, which is, selfishly it sucks, but thank God he didn't go through that much pain for a long time. And but he's gone, and he wrote a lot of great riffs, and he's the original guitar player from Manowar, which is my favorite band, and the Dictators, which is an early punk band, was there. Even D. Snyder posted on his X account. He posted the Dictators. Now you know why the Ramones looked the way they did. They just copied the Dictators, and that was and it's not a copy. I mean, the Ramones are the Ramones. It was more like a nod of the head to him for the early punk scene as well. And he was playing metal all the way up until he was supposed to be on tour this year, doing the European festivals. But anyway, the lead guitar player from Manowar, Ross the Boss Friedman, is gone. But the music that he put out there's a ton of it. Will live forever and stuff, So here's to Ross the Boss.
Rest in power,
Cheers.
Ross.
Rest in power, brother.
Yeah, and it's interesting you bring up that interview because I think Chad, our good friend Chad, was on that interview with you guys.
Yes, he was.
And I did want to also give a shout out to Chad. Chad just started his own podcast, Last of the Old School Rockers. And I think he's on episode 2. This week is an interesting episode where he touches on AI and music. So if you get a chance, subscribe wherever podcasts, get it wherever podcasts are found. Last of the Old School Rockers. It's a really, really fun, really interesting. Chad is an absolute wealth of knowledge when it comes to
he's an idiot savant. Stress on the idiot part. When it comes to music, he baffles us too. Plenty of times he tells us, "Oh, so and so just passed away. They were they played the triangle in this band on this album," and like he knows all of this stuff. We don't, and we're like, "Who the F is that?" But it really is when you get him talking, and it's interesting.
To use his own vernacular, he is criminally underrated.
Yes, be prepared if you bring up anything about Frank Zappa. Be prepared to be stunned and offended for 3 hours.
It's a ride. You'll enjoy it.
It is.
But yeah, definitely give him a follow and a subscribe, because really, really fascinating stuff. I'm looking forward to future episodes. So, well done, Chad.
Yes.
I did want to. So, I don't get a chance to listen to everything. My work schedule doesn't really allow me to listen to as much Busted Open and stuff as I used to. But something that Andre started over on Coach's show in the afternoons was this turnbuckle tirade thing, and it was a really interesting take this week on everybody. I think it was Mikey, Coach, Andre, and Thunder all had their own rants, and Andre's was around the criticisms around AEW. Now, I don't get a chance to watch as much as I used to, but I do watch off and on. I always watch the pay-per-views. I know the pay-per-view we watched together a week or two ago was like one of the best AEW pay-per-views I've ever seen. And then leading into this week, there are storylines continuing. So Andre's rant was around the false narrative that AEW doesn't tell stories. And I think that was true a couple of years ago, but that's not true now. They've the pace of their show. They are giving, not always, but they're giving a lot of stuff time to breathe. They've got returning stars like Will Ospreay. You've got storylines with Kenny and his number one contendership. All that stuff going on this week. The women's title scene is, for the last several years, has been on par with any other women's division. Crazy talented people. We saw.
No, yeah, please. That's ridiculous too. I mean, you got Tekla and you got the I'm not sure what's the name of the tag team. It's Megan Bain and the other big woman that just came, and they're the tag team
across their Divine Domination.
Divine Domination. Yeah, I mean, you look at them and you say that. It might even be like a Vince-like tag team. Like, you know, they dominate. They're very dominating and big women. But yeah, you're right. I mean, and Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm of course, and yeah, storylines too. To your point, Toni Storm, MJF. I mean, even you could have your criticism about what happened with Hangman Adam Page after he defeated Mox and made Mox tap out. But you can't argue the point that the bow was tied in a nice, neat knot between MJF and Hangman, two originals, right? I mean, that's
agree.
what I saw.
I agree. And I keep coming back to this, especially with AEW and especially over, I'll say, the past 2 years. Which is funny to say because they've only been around for 6, 7. We're coming up on 7 years now, roughly. About. They had their growing pains and continue to grow and evolve, but the product lately that we've been seeing from them is much more mature. And it also goes back to one of my favorite sayings, and one that me and Front Row talk a lot about, and that's better than, less than, or different than. Well, they're working on, everybody always wants to work on better than, and they all have their own ways of going about it. You're not going to be bigger than, because no one is bigger than WWE right now. And that's just a given fact. That's not tribalism. That's not being the shield. That's absolute dollar facts, tangible numbers. Yes. So you can, and nobody wants to be lesser than, so that kind of takes that out. So you go with different than. And that's what
which
AEW
is alternative, right? And or whatever. You could get tired of one thing and go to another, right?
And that's
you could like both. You could like many. You
could be like me. I watch wrestling 7 nights a week. If I'm not
hard,
watching major, it's hard to keep up on everything. But I like variety. I like, yes, it's all professional wrestling. But I get just as much of enjoyment watching some independent indie on IWTV as I do watching WWE or AEW for that matter, or however, the 15 different promotions you can see every week and night on Triller TV.
And that's
You
it.
know.
No matter what any of us in this group watch on TV, we are always out to local shows to see
And on top of
see any independent shows. And like you front row, you two guys right here are planning for
WrestleCade,
Dayton,
yeah.
North Carolina.
WrestleCade.
Yep.
That's it. The big the WrestleCade is like if you're gonna compare it to to WrestleMania, WrestleCade is like the WrestleMania of conventions.
It's funny you say that because, you know, John and I have been together for a few years now on going to these shows. I've been going to WrestleCade since 2017 or 18. And this year they extended their VIP front row all exclusive pass thingy. They did it for the first 4 rows the last few years, and they sold so quickly they extended it to the first 6 rows now, which means if you get a front row, if you get a VIP pass, 3-day pass within the first 6 rows, you get that seat for the whole weekend. You're buying the whole deal.
And
Okay,
I'm
tickets
sorry,
went on sale.
Go finish. I'm sorry.
Good. I'm sorry. Just real quick. So like tickets went on sale the second week of February. They sold out that day. All the VIPs were gone. So if you wanted to go to WrestleCade, you already missed it. I mean, there's going to be general admission tickets, but like in February, Winston-Salem, North Carolina was sold out, which is amazing.
It's crazy. I just wanted
for a show in November.
Yes, the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point out that, like, I know you've gone every year, and someone from this group has been there with you, you know, going to that same show, and every year you guys go, holy shit, last year was crowded, this year was like, oh, holy shit. And then the following year, you know, the third year in a row, then you're like, wow, I didn't even do this because of just so much, you know. It just keeps snowballing in a good way. That it's kind of the same thing with the big event, right, John? Is it getting bigger, and like the line for Rick Martel alone, and it still was packed up besides that. So right,
absolutely,
so didn't have a small line either, right?
Yeah, but things like that, like Rick Martel had the longest line there out of everybody. And there were some really big names there.
Yeah.
And just for the fact that he doesn't do a lot of appearances, and you know, and he wound up staying, I read 2 or 3 hours after the quote unquote the show closed.
He stayed for everybody that was on that line.
See everybody. And House of Glory was doing a live show there that night. So they had to get everybody out the clear so they could put their wrestling show on. But it's unbelievable. But all of this, and there's a, you know, big event always draws big names, and it's really, even the times that I have gone to, the crowd is exponentially getting bigger, and so are the names.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you the power of the current, like, pro wrestling. The pro wrestling audience is growing and growing and growing. You know, Netflix is international now. And WWE is international on Netflix, and they have a massive audience. AEW is growing. They just launched their new streaming service. TNA is killing it. So, and that's just the big three. Never mind GCW. GCW getting a huge spotlight on Cody Rhodes' podcast this week with Matt Cardona. They talked about Matt's death match with Nick Gage, like freely mentioning all the companies. And I love the fact that they're able to talk about all that stuff. And that leads into, like, you know, Dynasty's coming up, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Like, that's looking interesting. That's only a few weeks away. We have FTR versus Cage and Cope, and of course, they're the 2 matches we were just talking about with the unsanctioned. Is it unsanctioned? Is that what they're calling it? Mox and Will Ospreay, and then of course MJF and Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega winning the number 1 contender match, retaining his EVP status, and then he cut that promo later on in the show, and I think the contract signing's next week. So I didn't plan on talking about this, but I want to ask you guys, because we had a conversation last night, and I think it's an interesting topic for here. every company has like their top person, whether it's a wrestler, whether it's a promo, like whatever their specialty is, right? Right now we're seeing magic with CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Over on the AEW side, MJF is as good as it gets, maybe the best guy on the microphone in the world, right? It's tricky to find a number two because he is so good, and there's other people who are really good. I'm not saying there aren't, but who, in your opinion, would be like number two, or who would be in that category as someone that could hang on the mic?
Well, for me, just overall the company, and it's kind of hard right now because she is not available, and that's Tony Storm. You know, on the male side, it's
Cope and Cage could. We know they can.
Shout a little dirty.
Oh yeah. We gotta talk. We gotta talk some crap about that kid. I have something. Let me see where he's at. He's in. Let me see. Oh yeah, he's listening. Happy birthday!
Yeah,
April 1st. That's what I'm saying.
Nice.
Brady,
Happy birthday.
Dirty. Shout out to him.
I mean,
old. I forget these things.
You are. And we're all getting older.
Ahead,
waiting for you to answer the question.
Go ahead.
But MJF is clearly on the male side anyway, clearly at the very top, and there's a bit of a distance and a very muddled like second place. All the guys that would be considered second place to me are all absolutely first rate in the ring. Their in-ring stuff is, you know, it's different, but they're all very good at what they do in the ring. Where they're lacking, and I hate to use the word lacking, but it's when you're compared to against MJF, it's the only word you can really use to describe it. None of them are as good on the mic as MJF is. And when I mean as good on the mic,
not saying the rest of them are bad. It's just like
right. It's just MJF has that way and has that way about him, especially with his promos, that he gets, you know, basically he grabs you by the throat, and whether you like it or you don't like it, you're gonna listen to him. And you can react how you can cheer for him, you can boo him, you can wish him, you know, ill-fated things. You could be, you know, you could call him the salt of the earth. It doesn't matter. But that crowd reacts every single time, no matter what he does. And that's what makes him better than you, and you know it.
Yep. I just want to so two things. I think, and I've told this story a million times, but when we were at the NWA tapings back in the early days of Power, you know, you're sitting in a small room with 200 people, and you're right there with the audience and the wrestlers. And I was sitting 5 feet from Eddie Kingston when he was cutting his promos, maybe for like a whole season. And there were moments during those segments where I genuinely thought a fight was going to break out. Like I've been watching wrestling a long time. And even in those moments, I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's like, he's going to hit somebody. Like this is going to go south in a hurry. And so, you know, I know he's not like a main event guy, like a MJF or a Hangman, but I still think he's one of the realest guys on the mic in that company.
Definitely. Without
and who was, I want to give a shout out to Andre, because Andre's suggestion was Samoa Joe. Right? Samoa Joe is another guy that like he's not there right. I think he's out on injury, right? But when Joe speaks, you absolutely believe everything he says. He believes everything he's saying. He's not as energetic as MJF or as like cutting, but when he speaks, people listen. So there's a couple there. I did just want to touch on something that, let me see where we go here. Someone in the comments had posted, when Bully's interviewing someone from NXT, he uses the other company. He does that because he's literally sitting at NXT in the Performance Center doing an interview with an NXT superstar. So he's not going to make them look bad by referencing AEW by name. He does it all the time on Busted Open. But if he's literally sitting on property doing interviews with NXT superstars, he's probably not going to name drop AEW. So that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It's called read the room, people.
No, but I mean, it's an important distinction, right? Like, it's what's the audience?
Yeah,
what's he doing?
Right.
Okay. So I wanted to, so much cool shit happened this week, right? One of my favorite things that happened this week is the same thing that happened last week, and that's Femi and Brock Lesnar. Like, it was simple, it was short, and yet you watch that and you go, Brock doesn't do that for anybody. And I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on, like, what's the match going to look like? What is the next few weeks going to look like leading up to Mania? Because I didn't expect the last 2 weeks.
I am, especially after Monday night, I am more interested in Oba versus Brock than any other match on the card right now, on both nights.
Yes.
And we have all had our share of criticism, and maybe rightfully so, about Brock Lesnar. But we're all going to miss him when he's finally gone, and just how much and how good that guy really is. Part-timer and all that stuff aside, that's the way it's worked out. It's the way it is. But when that guy gets something that he's interested in and gets a partner to work with that he is really interested in getting to the next level, that's what we're seeing right now. Femi instantly became a main player on the main roster that, mind you, he's only been officially on for about a month and a half, 2 months. And he's already to the top of the card for one guy and one guy only. And where they go from here, I am, like I said, I am more interested in this match and how exactly it plays out than any other match on the card.
I want to let you guys in on something. So when we typically watch wrestling shows together on Zoom, right? You guys know we've talked about that a million times. One of my absolute favorite things is when a big moment happens, Mongrovian Mike reacts like it's Christmas. And when Femi powerbombed Brock Lesnar, I think we all gasped and sort of jumped up. And your reaction stuck out to me because you were like, holy shit, like, did that just happen?
We were all Michael Cole in that moment.
Yeah. And it was like, it wasn't like he got, it was just insane, because you would expect him to just no sell and pop back up and do the same thing back, but he didn't. He was out, man, and Oba just dominated him. He turns his head for a second, and then the Oba's there, and you're dead. Yeah. And you're right. And I mean, the Beast is the Beast. That's it. That's the guy that was the 1-21-1, and there's nothing else that you could. Yeah, there you go, Garza. You was there live, man. We're live, pal. I was there live, pal.
and just a quick side note on that, Coach and all the rest of you internet know-it-alls that are saying that this lead, no, it doesn't lead anywhere else just yet. Let the match happen and let these two guys play out what they're going to play. I don't want to hear about, Gunther, GFY. Just shut up and let it play. It's absolutely fantastic so far. Just let it play out. All right, thank you.
So you mentioned. Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. Finish. Go ahead. Get your thoughts out. I could say
it's a separate topic. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it's not the same topic. I was just looking at also Orton versus Rhodes, but right here, Matt Cardona. How happy are we for Matt Cardona?
It's literally top of my list. I'm like, we have to talk about Matt Cardona.
Okay, so we could save it for later. I'm just saying it because I have SmackDown playing.
No, now's a good time because I wanted to highlight the Matt Cardona Cody Rhodes interview from this week. It's really, really good. Cody does great interviews, but they've been longtime friends, like like really close personal friends. That interview was fantastic. And like you were saying, we've been so happy to see him back, but he didn't just get signed to do like bit stuff. He's like in main events doing all kinds of like, he's in there with Randy Orton,
And
like
he's
having a
had
real match.
At least a backstage bit every show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, it's like you know what we hear. 30 seconds, a minute. That's prime real estate for a wrestler, entertainer, or whatever you want to call him. Man, but this is a guy that got let go from WWE and went out and I think pretty much showed all the other indie wrestlers a 101 masters class on what to do if you let go, especially if you've been, he got signed because he was using the internet. And when he left, he used the indie and the internet again to his riches. He's done so well. And not only that, he collects action figures like I do. They're not dolls, they're action figures.
I think you said something important because like when during the interview, Cody Rhodes said, you weren't the first person to do it, but when he did the Long Island IZ and he did the whole YouTube series, that became a thing. WWE made that a thing. And Cody said, we have a massive, massive digital department that you can trace the roots of all of that right back to your show. He's like, I think a lot of it got a head start. He's like, the company got a head start just based on the work that you were doing. Obviously, there was Cole Cabana and other people doing podcasts.
Right? Scott Stafford said he did a lot of that stuff with Debhausen too. Yeah, he
did. Yeah, but Matt did all the producing. Like he did all the actual work. He funded it. Everything. It was all his own work. So this is the way my brain works, right? And you guys know this because we were watching TNA the other night.
Yeah, I know. You get it. It starts like there's a little pulse right over there, like right near your temple. It starts.
And I know I'm not the only one who thought this, but when Buff Bagwell came out and said he wanted one more match, I wanted Gunther to come out so bad. Like I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Here's another guy you can retire. But it was Kazarian. But
yeah, they have their own asshole to deal with that.
But wouldn't it have just been funny if Gunther showed up?
Baby. John wants to be his manager.
Well, as a fellow amputee, I was just waiting for Buff to rip off the leg like I do and crack him upside the head with it. But
now, just imagine this, John. You are ringside, and those two have a match, and then it's between you both of you rip off your prosthetics, and you start beating them one after the other. Well, and just like
go back and forth, sure.
Listen, it might be a new thing. Instead of seeing those freaking kendo sticks, people will start pulling out, prosthetic legs and start whipping each other with those. I bet you those leave a nice mark. We got his legs.
They don't call it the most dangerous weapon in all professional wrestling for nothing. And of course, I'm talking about the AK-9K. And let me do my Becky Lynch for a second. It's not just me saying it, and it's not just Sports Illustrated saying it. Ask Bear Bronson. Ask the American Kaiju, Lindsay Snow. Ask
close personal friend,
the Ace of Space, Leo St. Giovanni. Ask, even though she's on the mend, my dear friend Kylan King, the mother effing King, all have known and absolutely know the effects of using AK-9K. So
this is where we're at, and I'll John, I hope you don't mind me sharing.
Yeah,
we were headed to WrestleCade last year, like a month or so before, and there were several wrestlers vying for the opportunity to book AK-9K to the point where Shotzi got pushed out of the conversation because AK was booked in Florida. Like, sorry.
That's true.
But there was a moment that was going to happen, but schedules didn't align. So
And not to say it won't.
One day,
the opportunity won't not. Yeah,
for sure, for
absolutely.
sure.
And she already
a couple
knows
of
she's
really,
more than welcome to it.
a couple of really fun things I think this week. I am continually, genuinely surprised at how good Jelly Roll is on the mic and how natural
he was
he
the star
is.
SmackDown last night.
Yeah,
he absolutely was the star of SmackDown.
And who would have thought he could sell like that? I thought the man was dead.
But here's the thing I keep going back to, especially with Jelly Roll, because this is a guy, obviously, he is not a wrestler in any way, shape, or form, other than being a fan. But man, he gets it, and he does the whole old Paul Heyman adage.
No. I've seen wrestlers from the 70s and early 80s with that shape and form. Don't.
Yeah, but he hides the negatives. Granted, he's not a fully trained wrestler, but he accentuates his positives. And the fact that he can sell and emote and all that stuff, absolutely spot on, is what makes it so good.
Yeah.
It's funny. Garza said this when he called into After Dark. It was a great call, talking to Mark Henry, and he did liken it to the Vince McMahon stunner cell, but the Twitch afterwards was really good.
Chef's
kiss for sure. But not, and I love watching like a regular weekly show when cool stuff happens, and the backstage with Nick Aldis and Sami Zayn, and Nick's like, I'm sorry, I don't have a spot for you on Mania. And of course, Sammy's not in a position where that might be true. Like, he might not get on the card. I mean, they probably wouldn't say it on TV, but it's very possible that Sami Zayn isn't on WrestleMania this year. And then, the open challenge and all that stuff, we saw Trick come out when Carmelo was out there, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's where they're going. That kind of made sense that that's where they were going to go. Like, maybe it's going to be, that's where the title match is going to end up. Mm-hmm. But no, Sammy wins. Like, we have a new U.S. champion and Sami Zayn, who goes back to Nick and says, hey, how about that match now? I was like, all right. You're on Mania.
Hard to argue that.
Yeah.
I just thought I like those fun little surprises, because like, I didn't think there'd be a title change, but here we are.
Yep. We are on the road to WrestleMania, and we have seen before strange things have happened up to and including night 1 or night 2. So it's on point. But again, we weren't thinking before SmackDown last night. Sami Zayn was not in any conversation, which is unfortunate because he is that good and everything. But just the way things were seemingly going, he wasn't in any conversations. But here we are 24 hours later, and Sami Zayn is right back in the conversation.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of fun things, and yes, we're probably going to overstate the obvious, but how good is Danhausen?
I was going to say, how
much fun is it? How much fun has it been having Danhausen?
He will have a Danhausen blimp at WrestleMania. He has to.
I told you it's my idea. That Danhausen's entrance, think back to, was it Mania 35, when they did the main event with Ronda, Charlotte, and Becky, and Charlotte came in on the helicopter, and they did the whole fly around and landed, and then she walked out. Dude, there's going to be a big Goodyear Danhausen blimp landing in a parking lot somewhere, and Danhausen getting out and coming to the ring. They have to do it that way. It's the only thing that absolutely works.
And the other fun thing is the new tag champions. I mean, truly surprised Damian Priest and just an always funny, and it makes he breaks. Does R-Truth break? I don't know if Damian breaks in every single thing they do. Everything they do, he makes him break. Oh my God.
It's funny because we were just talking about Jelly Roll, and Jelly Roll got his first singles victory over Kit Wilson, but that makes sense because he got cursed. Kit got cursed. So look what happened.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So happy for Danhausen too, man. I mean, these are two indie guys that just really,
Yeah,
it
and
really is great.
Him saying R-Truth calling him Dom. That's great.
Yeah. When he said, "Oh, you're back together," when Rhea was, and then him
It's
calling
like, we're
the
back
Bella
in Judgment
twins
Day.
the Bella clones.
The Bella clone.
Yes, the Bella clones.
And then he has Bree's hat, and he goes, you can touch Hausen, but you can't have Hausen. You can't have that. Oh my God, he's so good.
He is.
I'm just
So,
waiting
not
to
to
see
be-
when it surfaces real quick. When that one Cody posted with Danhausen's signature, where and how that shows up. Like, is it going to be on eBay or somebody going to just post a picture of it that they got it? So,
Yeah. Not to be negative, and I try not to focus on anything negative, especially when we talk here. But man, I'm not a fan of the Bellas match last night. Like, all due respect. I mean, all due respect, but like, oof, it was not good.
Yeah,
a lot of heavy lifting in that match.
Even being slow walkthrough with two veterans.
Yeah, it's just
It's
I
funny
don't know.
calling the two that are around less the veterans. Sorry.
All we can hope is that let's help them across the finish line at Mania, and hopefully they slowly kind of just fade back.
It'll be a triple threat match.
I think because the tag titles are a thing now, I think, there are people that are coming back. Like AJ's back and she's holding a title now. AJ is a whole other conversation. AJ looks like she never took a week off and is wrestling today's style as good as anybody else.
Yeah,
my God, she's just so good, and she's still young. I mean, she's not, she's the same age as most of the people on the roster.
and the Bellas have their fans. It's not like
Oh, yeah.
this, and it's not. But in ring, like the back, I have no problem with any of the vignettes they do, especially now with Danhausen. If it takes Danhausen to get him over, then have him. He's going to curse them sooner or later.
But the product in ring has advanced and developed so much.
That's
they just aren't getting up to speed with the current product, especially in ring, and especially with the talent in ring right now. And that's that's part of the problem, is that they can't keep up. They can't, and yes, they're Hall of Famers and all that, and their popularity is not questionable here, but it's one of the things, they weren't really great wrestlers in ring to begin with, and now it's really seemingly glaring that they're not that good.
Yeah, I mean, look at the matches that they've. I mean, Nikki had the feud with Stephanie. Like, oh man, like Stephanie is light years better. Stephanie is light years better than most of the people. Most of the other wrestlers.
You want to talk about working
glaring
down?
I mean, Charlotte was working 20% of her ability in that match, and Lexi too. But all that to say, like, I'm not mad at them holding the titles that they didn't, because it wasn't around when they were a big thing, and I'm cool with all that. But that kind of needs to have its day and move on. I will say, and this is a weird thing, Neil's going to hate me for this. I am a big Julia fan, but like what's she doing? She's holding a title and like nobody cares. And it's not that people don't care about her matches, it's that they're not doing, I don't feel like they're doing enough to make her storyline interesting. The stuff with Kiana was great, like, but they're kind of separate. I don't know what you guys think. It isn't hitting with me. I feel like she's a much bigger talent than what we're seeing on TV.
I agree. And especially as of late, Kiana has come out of this partnership much more of a star, especially off of her Elimination Chamber match, than Julia is right now. And that's very weird to say, and not to say that Kiana doesn't deserve it. I mean, she did put her time in and everything else, but Julie was brought in as a big star, and rightfully so, she is. But yeah, it's almost like they've just been kind of spinning their wheels with her. There's nothing that really has taken hold yet. And I stress yet because I'm sure they will figure it out. And it'll be, great once it does. But, for right now, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't want to hear bullshit from the internet about language barriers because Io Sky is one of the most popular wrestlers in WWE. Kairi Sane, super popular. Shinsuke Nakamura, Asuka. I mean, Jesus, El Grande Americano.
Look at all the Americanos. Don't tell me a language barrier is a problem.
Right.
That was a good one.
And even on the AEW, like we saw it when Thunder had a match, like he should have promo like right before her recent match. Like that was a good promo because I let her speak in her native language mixed with English. Like it was passionate. I didn't feel scripted. And when people are able to speak with their natural voice, you get a better promo. You get a more interesting thing. And remember a couple of years ago, they started doing that with Shinsuke, where he just cut full on Japanese promos, the vignettes with the subtitle. And I was like, oh, there it is. There's the guy. And I got a lot more invested. And of course, like Stephanie and Julia can both speak English, but there's something fiery and like there's an edge to it when they're speaking, Japanese or Spanish. Like it's just different.
Yeah, when Stephanie went to live in that backstage interview and friggin' lit into her, oh man, in just all in Spanish, and yeah, that was sick. It was like you don't even have to know what she's saying. It's like that works. That's right.
It's so funny. Garza's 100% right because we started to see, when Chad went away with injury and whoever this current Grande is, took over, he decided to go a different route and not make it comedic and just like, okay, I'm going to be this character. I'm going to learn how to speak Spanish and I'm going to go to AAA and get over with the AAA crowd. And boy, did he. And it's just been like, we've seen him, entering like some of the arenas and stuff there. And he's treated like a hometown hero, which is insane.
He teams with Dom in the AAA.
No, it's the AAA.
AAA.
Which, quick side note on that, folks. If you're not tuning in, it's free on YouTube almost every Saturday, I believe.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And
dude, don't sleep on that, man.
Yeah, it's like an hour.
It is a good time. Yeah, it is a good time. And you
see a lot of crossover. Corey Graves. You got sometimes I think you have JBL,
Ray,
right?
JBL and Ray. Yeah, alternate. Yeah. Because Conan was doing it. And Conan was doing it, and then he's out.
Yeah, well, yeah. Hopefully
he gets better and comes
back.
Man, it's a fun watch. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, Bailey answered like an open challenge recently. Like you just never know what's going to happen over there.
Yeah,
and Corey Graves knows his shit too, man.
Yeah. Well, he's worked there. His brother's worked there for years.
Exactly. Yeah. His brother is there, but it's still, because it's a lot to know with the Mexican style, the lucha style wrestling, man. It ain't your American style.
Yeah. So I was looking at the cards. There's always buzz around what matches have been booked for Mania. We're still a few weeks away. I think according to Wikipedia, there's 8 matches currently firmed up, which is fine. There'll be some more stuff added in the next couple weeks as we get closer. But what really was weird to me is I'm super happy for AJ Lee, as I mentioned earlier. I think she and Becky are really, really good on the mic, but there's just something about this week. It felt like, and I said it in the moment. I said, did I walk away? Did I miss something? Because all of a sudden AJ's like, oh, I'll give you what you want. And she's like, I don't remember her asking for a match. Like it was just all of a sudden they went from we're arguing to, okay, fine, there's a match. You go, okay, but what happened? Like it felt like I missed something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems that way. I mean, and on the other hand, though, you could kind of see that's what the angle they were going for. Either, on Raw one night, or it looks like now it's going to be Mania. But it was going to wind up at least in a rematch of some sort. Or even if Becky had retained, it wasn't. They weren't going to end it there. They were going to have at least one more match, and now we're seeing that now. But yeah, while it was weird that Becky went into this big long tirade, and AJ's like, "Well, yeah, here's your match."
Yeah,
and it was like, wait, that's it. That's all. That's it. You just.
And I know AJ's been gone a bit, but like in 2026, there's a general manager. Whether it's Adam Pearce or Nick Aldis, and they're running stuff, you kind of have to have your general manager approve matches in today's day and age. Right. But one of the things that I thought was something that I'm always interested anytime Drew McIntyre is on my screen, whether it's in videos or on his social media or on TV. He might be in the fishbowl with you, Elder, scaring people as he's like,
right.
But it's funny because he's had this thing with Jacob Fatu, and of course they both show up on SmackDown. They're both limping, they're both beat to shit. And I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen?
They're crashing cars into one another.
So they book an unsanctioned match. Nick Aldis announces that it's gonna be an unsanctioned match. And I did some looking, like I think, John, when we were at 33, I think that was the only Mania unsanctioned match. Was the Triple H Seth Rollins match, right?
Yes. And especially in Mania, that was the only one. I think we've seen it on other PLEs, but not Mania.
So that's going to be cool. I mean, I don't know what to expect from that. Did they stick? So here's the thing. Typically unsanctioned matches are at the end of a card because it's like, okay, this is the end of the show. Now we're going to give you the non-approved version of whatever,
right.
AEW does it that way. And
when the lights come back on, this next match is unsanctioned.
Yep.
Right. Which is going to be interesting in a stadium in broad daylight, but
right.
We'll see. We're going to turn the sun off for 30 seconds.
Right.
Because, but I mean, these guys are for real. And both of them are really good on the mic. They're both cutting promos that I believe Jacob and Neil will confirm this. We had a chance to talk to Jacob right before he got signed at WrestleCade a few years ago. Super nice guy, but like he is the real deal. What you see is what you get. So I'm really excited for that match as well.
Yeah. And it shows just how things can change very differently, especially in this wonderful age of wrestling we're living in right now. 2 months ago, Drew McIntyre was a main event at WrestleMania, probably night one of WrestleMania, and now he's not. But now he's got another story with another wrestler that they're both going to have their WrestleMania moment in the span of 6 weeks. They went from Drew being main event night one to Drew probably being a feature match on either night with somebody else. And it happened that fast. So it just shows that, things are absolutely fluid, and what you think you're getting, you may not be getting. And it's still going to wind up maybe being better than what you originally thought you were getting. So that's the beauty of it.
It's true. Elder, I want to get your thoughts, but I want to just talk. This is a quick story. When Neil and I, and mostly Neil, because I was just kind of standing there, but when we were talking to Jacob Fatu, Neil was saying, "Oh, I would love to go to the show that you're going to be at, but it's on a work night. Like I can't make it to the show." And Jacob goes, "Dude, if you can make it there," he said, "message me. I will give you free tickets. I want you to be there. I want you to see this show." Like he wasn't trying to sell a ticket. He just literally wanted Neil to go to this show. It was the coolest shit. He was such a cool dude.
That is awesome.
So, like I said earlier, there's some really cool interviews out there right now. I'm trying to think of what are the other ones. Doesn't matter, but definitely check out the Cody Rhodes interview. The Stephanie interviews are always great. Oh, that was the other one I wanted to talk about. So I saw Stephanie's podcast with Obafemi, and highly recommend all of her podcasts. They're great conversations. But he talks about growing up, in Nigeria, in a third world country, and he talks about how different life is there, and the culture shock of coming to America and all that stuff. And just his whole mindset is you can understand why he is where he is when you hear the interview and hear his mindset. He's very nice, very calm, very jovial, but it's a really good interview.
The ruler.
Is this Sam and CVV? Yeah, they're doing each other's shows for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe the CBD version is out now. I thought I saw that come across my feed.
Okay, because Sam's version was out. I heard Sam's version earlier in the week. I don't know when it came out, but
yeah, I just happened to be scrolling through and saw the CBV with Sam Roberts was now out. So
I'll try to listen to. I'll try to watch both in this weekend. There's so much stuff. Yeah,
so much. Hey guys, we had a pay-per-view last night. TNA presented Genesis from down in New Orleans, and I watched that foregoing SmackDown last night, and I'm glad I did. I was thoroughly entertained for just about 2.5 hours.
John, can I interrupt you for 1 second? Can we just get the bad news out of the way that Steve Macklin?
Unfortunately, Steve Macklin
finish off, but let's start with that.
Part of what I was going to say was going to lead off with that.
Yes.
There was an unfortunate incident last night in the main event, and I just want to give a bunch of quick rounds of applause for a couple things from that. The match itself started out excellent. It was, and if you follow TNA, that Steve Macklin was in the Feast or Fired match about a month or so ago, and got the fired briefcase. Did all kinds of bad guy manipulation to finally lead up to this point, which was his return to TNA, and as a title match against Mike Santana. Unfortunately, early in that match, Steve took a bad bump off one of the ring ropes and got a concussion. So first round of applause to the female referee in the ring, and I cannot remember her name for the life of me, that immediately saw there was a problem, jumped on the fact that Steve wasn't right, and threw up the X and got the ringside doctor and the medical people right on it to check him out. Now, subsequently, it turned out Steve is okay. He got his bell rung, but no concussion, nothing like that. He was able to actually leave the hospital later on last night and go home and go back to the hotel. And I haven't heard if he's going to be on the show tonight that they're doing TV tapings in New Orleans tonight. I haven't heard if he's back on. But shout out to that ref, especially in the wake of the damn tragedy that happened in OVW with the one referee with the seizure.
Yeah.
And
I think her name's Alice Lane.
Yeah. And don't forget the other one where that boxer guy pounded.
Oh, that's another whole story, but that's a whole different subject, and we're not going to go into that right now.
Yeah.
But also, shout out to names we know and love. Hunter Johnson and Tommy Dreamer, who are the producers for TNA, that saw that had the problem and on the fly get somebody else out there to kind of continue the show along while they attended to Steve Macklin and keep it going almost like it was all part of the plan. So shout out to them guys for being quick on their feet and doing what they had to do and keeping the main event basically a main event in very unusual circumstances.
Always have a plan B.
And, but that's when you have guys that have worked and been in the ring. We all know Tommy Dreamer's record and tenure in wrestling. And Hunter Johnson, I keep repeating this because everybody looks at me funny when I say his name. That is Delirious from Ring of Honor, aka he was the booker for Ring of Honor right up until they closed. You know, the man knows what he's doing with the wrestling ring. So
yes,
shout out
you
to
may
that.
not understand what he's talking to you in his own language.
It's
but
absolute gibberish, but
it doesn't matter.
he don't wear shoes, but it's what comes out of his head is absolutely magic, and it was for many years in Ring of Honor. But shout out to them for basically saving that show, which was a very entertaining show. And just one more quick note, we had an old school reunion last night, and it's going to lead to a match, I believe. We had Hardcore Country, Mickie James, show up on the side of ODB, who is on her kind of last ride because she could be retiring from wrestling, and a blast from the past, still looking real fine with legs that go way up here still. One, Tara Terrell made her TNA re-debut and appearance last night, and they got into it with the Elegance brand, including Mr. Elegance, who was received on one of those Tara Terrell long-ass legs right across the side of his head.
Good.
So, and again, just an overall very entertaining. It's one of the freebies on TNA Plus. It was $10 on Triller. It's worth it. They do these all the time around their TV schedules and their bigger pay-per-views, but it's $10, folks. You know, invest in it. It's really, like I said, it was an enjoyable 2.5 hours to watch.
Yeah, I want to add to what you just said about the value though, because like I do the yearly TNA Plus bundle, whatever it's called. It's like $150 a year or something like that. And you get all of the pay-per-views, all the Friday shows, all of the major pay-per-views, all the weekly shows. You have one app and you get to see everything, and it's awesome. I'm so happy with that.
You go
And
back
every
and
week we watch and everything is
old
great.
TNA.
Yeah, and it's the home of the TNA library, going all the way back to the very beginning. They have every show.
And I think the success of that model too, like AEW's new streaming service is following a similar model where you can pay a yearly subscription and get like everything, which I think is smart.
It's good. It's good.
All right, folks, we're heading up to the top of the hour. I know people are wanting to watch Collision, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff on tonight. Is there a GCW show on tonight?
There is not a GCW show this weekend.
MLP?
Maple Leaf. Maple Leaf and Ring of Honor are doing Global Wars. Yeah, they're doing Global Wars. Tonight is night 2.
Okay.
Global Wars night 2. And a little shout out to our friend Deb, where we didn't have her here tonight. Hopefully we'll see her back next week.
She's on assignment.
She's on assignment. Yeah.
Yes. We didn't say what kind of assignment.
Yes.
It probably involves drinking wine somewhere.
Oh, we also have to give a shout out to friend of the show, Gabby Forza, who was on Busted Open After Dark last night, live from Japan, like calling in from Japan. It was an amazing interview. I wish they had more time, and I think they're talking about bringing her back at some point for a longer interview. Awesome.
Yeah, it was a great double interview that Denise Sato had on the After Dark. She had Vicious Vicky, a local East Coast talent that we all love and know, and
somebody sign her now.
Sign her, TNA, and Gabby Forza is just like how happy I don't know how many times we say it. Like if they were here, they'd just think we just blow smoke up their ass. But we constantly talk about these two, like how happy we are for everything, and to just know that we were with Gabby from like her first, like either her first or second interview was with us, and I've seen all of her, a lot of her matches, and she's also a football champ. So. And Bear getting signed to TNA, and now he's part of the system. I mean, it's just you just gotta do it. And Creative Pro is one of the best places out there. And I mean, you got people flying in from Texas, you got people from California wanting to come. So Dirty in Texas is coming out to that Melville show. Creator Pro, and Gabby and Bear. You know, who knows where they're going to be after that? But that's going to be a big show. MJF against Nick Nemeth, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. So,
but if you ever want an example of what Matt Cardona talks about, always be ready. Gabby Forza is on a personal vacation. She's in Italy. She's going to France. She's going to Japan, and she finds out that there's a show going on in Paris. Gets booked on that show, and then finds out that Mercedes Moné is doing a show. She's working in Japan when she's going to be there. She contacts somebody. She just wanted to go see the show. And then Mercedes finds out she's going to be there, and she talked about this on After Dark last night.
Yeah, Joey Janela. Yeah. Joey, she just she messaged Joey Janela like, "Can you hook me up with tickets or what, or to get in?" Or told him that, and he said, "Oh wait, let me hook you up." And then next thing you know, she's booked on the show that Mercedes is on.
Yeah.
So she got to meet, probably one of her heroes in wrestling.
And of course, Mercedes knows everything about Lodestone. She's best friends with Bailey, so she's like, "Oh, I know who you are. I've seen you." And Gabby told it better than I could, but it was a really cool. It was a cool story of like being ready and taking advantage of the opportunities. Like one after, she ended up working once or twice in Paris and like 2 or 3 shows in Japan.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It's just amazing. And so she's gone the whole month of March. She was gone. She's in Japan and in Europe, and then Bear met her over in Japan. So they're both in Japan. They're just having. She had her first death match in Japan, and so a lot of fun.
Yeah. So very cool, and I hope they bust open books her for a longer interview, because we had her on our show. She was awesome, and I'm super excited for her. So
I'm gonna tell Dave. I told you 2 years ago. Get my homie the Nomi on there.
Yep.
But
terrific.
Yes, and it was great. It was great because just seeing those two women, because what they've both going through trying to succeed and be stronger, and then Vicky, just her personal journey, and then just everything, 2 thumbs up to her, and just so happy for those two, and happy for Bear, and all those Lodestone women. So cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I was glad that Denise was able to do the interview, because she's so good at what she does.
Yes.
All right, folks. John, where can people find you?
You can get with me on the Twitter and the Instagram at John South Jersey, and on Instagram is where you can keep up with the exploits of the most dangerous weapon in all professional wrestling, the aforementioned Ass Kicker 9K, with a quick shout out to the American Kaiju, Lindsay Snow, who adorned him with some new stickers, as we saw and spent time with her last weekend at the big event. So shout out to the Kaiju. Thank you for keeping AK nice and decorated. And also hashtag thanks Deb, Nation's Corner on location. Be on the lookout for some new interviews coming soon to the Nation's Corner platform. They are hopefully coming within the next week or 2 and will be released then.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Go to our YouTube channel. Go to our YouTube channel. Watch my interview with one of the greatest managers ever, the former WWF Hall of Famer, Sidney Bacabella. And he doesn't hold back. He cuts promos on little kids walking by. He cuts promos on all the wrestlers. I give a little back and forth with him. He he threatens all the wrestlers. He talks crap about his own boss standing a few feet away. So that's that.
He has bad toupees.
Nothing we can do about it.
That's it. Listen to Man of War and Ross the Boss. R.I.P. Saddle my horse as I drink my last ale. May your sword stay wet like a young girl in her prime.
And on that note, you can find me at PW Front Row. You can find us on X, Blue Sky, and TikTok at Nation's Corner, and all other socials at The Nation's Corner. Follow, like, and subscribe as the banner is instructing you to do so. Folks, thanks for watching this week. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Go watch some cool wrestling. We'll see y'all next week.
See ya.
Later.